Style of the Dog. Chapter 1. Wild Horses. I close my eyes and try to imagine what it feels like to be loved so strongly that crowds cheer at my sheer existence. I think back to the exact sound of that applause, back to the end of the George Carlin special I just spent the last hour listening to. The audio file must have come to an end. Right now, I only hear the speaker's fruitless hissing. At least it's better than an internal voice. You mean this voice? Yeah, you're the exact voice I was worried about. I think I've listened to you enough. Well, how about, instead of listening to me, you listen to music? Okay, some music would be good. Aren't you glad you listened to me? Stop trying to banter with me. Please, just play a song. Good idea, but I can't rush it. I need to be careful. Conjuring music requires me to flash my phone from my jeans. But like penises in playgrounds, phones are forbidden on the store floor. Even for the night stalkers like me, they are to be kept in the employee lockers. It's one of the many rules of this place, most of which I've broken. I lift one of the speakers off my ear, not a sound of anyone around. Discounting my companions of boxes that flood the polished floor, I think I'm alone. I unholster my phone, that I'm 3 payments behind on, from its pocket, peer into the spiderweb screen, and open the music app with a swipe of my dirty thumb. A sliver of glass stabs into my hardened fingerprint. It doesn't hurt. The weeks of constant cardboard handling has roughened my palms and fingers to armor. I roll the glass crystal to dust and return my focus to my folder of favorite songs. Like prostitutes posing in the brothel's entrance, each beautiful song silently begs to be selected, to be used, to be spared a bit longer of the inevitable deletion upon becoming overplayed. I narrow in on my favorite muse, knowing full well of the wondrous night she's sure to provide. I start the song and pocket the phone as a low rumble of noise invades. A deep sound of synth vibrates my starving skull. A surgical volley of snare drums synchronizes with a flood of more synth, forging the tempo. The keyboard dominates, hypnotizing every neuron held between my ears. Without my consent, I begin nodding my head to the song's addictive rhythm. I close my eyes and drift away in the sound. In sync with the melody, I slowly shift my weight from one foot to the other. Spontaneously, I'm now dancing. I'm dancing with myself in the aisle of a supermarket. Having every note of the song's intro memorized makes it easy to sway my body in accordance, to effortlessly dance to the secretive music. Every rhythmic twitch and movement I make matches perfectly with each echoing bleep. Like a bee fucking a flower, I focus and feed on the blossoming words, feasting on the voice of Q Lazarus. Savoring every bite, I close my eyes again as the pleading voice bellows, "Goodbye, horses, I'm flying over you." It's a song that tells a timeless story of newborn understanding, of existential defiance, of fearlessly seeding curiosity and remaining unstartled by what blooms. But more than anything, Goodbye Horses is a song about escaping. I should take the lyrics as advice. I also need to escape. The fantasy of fleeing this shit show sounds pretty goddamn fucking swell. I need a break. I can't stack any more cans of vegetables. I need a moment that's empty of effort, of exertion, of anything other than this song. I need to entirely absorb every note. I need to be swept away by its words, free from the soaring responsibilities that circle vulturously above. I'm working too hard. This isn't me. I mean, my God, I've stocked shelves for nearly 2 hours now. At this fucking rate, I may be earning my paycheck. Ugh, this productivity can stand no longer. It must be fought. It must be killed. I must wage a war against earning my wage. But to declare and engage in such a conflict, I need to establish my base of operations, my military's headquarters. I think the back stockroom will work perfectly. Once this base is established, my first command as general in this war on working will be to steal food. Because right now, I'm kind of hungry. I hope my battle plan will contain yogurt. Sure, go to the stockroom, but do us both a favor and knock off the warfare talk. Your metaphors, or whatever they are not at all clever or in any way beneficial to this moment or any other moment ever. Please stop. I ignore the naggings of the unwelcome squatter inhabiting my head. I don't have time for his trespasses. There's a war to be fought. I kick aside the boxes of cans, parting a reflective tile trail that I then move across. I restart the song and pull down on my beanie until my ears are covered completely. And don't make fun of me for wearing a beanie. I don't need any more of your sass. We both know I'm not one to wear beanies, or really any kind of hat. It's just that this specific beanie has small wireless speakers built into the sides. They sync with the music library on my phone. Because of this magic, I haven't killed myself at work yet. I still think about it, though. I've spent too much time mulling over the logistics of bashing myself in the temple with a can of creamed corn. The challenge of this task is to inflict the adequate amount of brain bleeding to achieve death, but before I knock myself out. I'm pretty sure thoughts like these aren't normal, but I don't know. And I never will know. I'm not going to risk asking another human if they fantasize about suicide. They would probably think I'm crazy, and they would probably be correct. I probably should have had a bicycle helmet stitched into my scalp years ago, but I guess for now, a tacky music-playing hat that enables escapism will have to do. As unstylish as the ridiculous thing is, it allows me to discreetly listen to music at work without anyone around me knowing that I'm breaking the rules. And honestly, it's not like I had any style points to begin with. I mean, just look at my outfit. I'm wearing a pair of genetic-stained jeans and a much too tight t-shirt that reeks of bereavement. And sure, I could make the excuse that this is my work attire, that I'm dressed this awful because I'm doing dirty physical labor, and that outside of work I would never be caught dressing so pathetic, but I would be lying. In the rare occasions that I do venture out into public, my style remains equally unstylish. And no, this doesn't bother me in the slightest. Nearly every day of my life I sport the essence of a hobo. Not necessarily with pride, but certainly without shame. My appearance is a petition for pity, and I wouldn't have it any other way. With this kind of look, I get the best of both worlds. People always hold the door for me, but they never try to communicate. It's easy, and no matter how unpleasant I come across, at least it's real. It isn't censored shut with pretensions. It's frank, and honestly, kinda cool. Or maybe you've just failed at life. You say failing at life? I say authentic at living. And I say the only thing you excel at is making excuses as to why you excel at nothing. And I say that what you just said makes no sense. If I excel at excusing the fact I excel at nothing, then clearly I do actually excel at something. And I say pick up the fucking pace. There's a job that needs to get done here. Or I guess a job that needs to get not done. Whatever it is you're doing it too slow. I mean, come on. How long have you been walking through the aisles now? This grocery store isn't that big. You should have been stealing food and listening to music in the stockroom 5 minutes ago. You're even a slacker when it comes to slacking off. I'm taking that as a compliment. Just shut up and focus on the task. Your talking isn't helping this. No, your talking isn't helping this. Your next utterance of consciousness better be about entering the stockroom, because honestly, I can't take much more of this. I push my way through the swinging doors of the stockroom. It's packed to the ceiling with PepsiCo poison, soon to become the spills soaked up by the paper towels alongside, and the urine in the diapers of the stacks farther back. But what fills this room has no value to me. It's not about what it contains, but what it lacks. What I'm saying badly is that no one else is in this stockroom. I'm secluded. Most likely it'll stay this way too. No more than 5 people are ever in the building after close, and the few coworkers that are here rarely come back here. So at this hour, the stockroom is the perfect environment to enjoy this song, and of course the free food that happens to surround. In a few minutes, I'll find some fresh fruit to steal from the produce section, but as for this moment, the music alone will be my meal. I hungrily re-emerge my phone, restart the song, and raise the volume until reality vanishes. Her singing is mesmerizing. Most people are surprised to learn that Q Lazarus, the singer of Goodbye Horses, is a woman. More surprising than this is the fact that she's a black woman with long dreads that are always dangling beneath a cowboy hat. She may be one of the coolest people to have ever lived. Her soothing voice is raspy and unnaturally deep, doubly confirming her coolness. Yet the most interesting thing about her has nothing to do with her appearance, or sound, or any other sort of obvious identifier. What's most interesting is her story of disappearance. She's a ghost that's fled from the public eye completely. She's an apparition that exists only in the sounds of a past recorded masterpiece. Aside from this song, her group has only made one other, White Lines, and really, it was just a bonus feature on the single record to Goodbye Horses, the only music ever released by her. They say she's a one-hit wonder, but I don't know if this description holds up when she's only made one song. Sure, you can say she only made one successful piece of music, but then you could also say that she only made successful music. I tried doing some digging on her, and by digging I mean probing the omnipotent Google for answers, and all I could discover was her backstory before the song was released. Anything after is where the mystery begins. See, after being featured in a couple big movies, the song became an overnight success. But as I'm sure you know, the song's singer fled from the fame at the same speed it was granted. Her wiki bio says she fell into an abusive marriage at a young age, well before her music career. She fled the relationship and took refuge as a taxi driver in New York City, immersing herself in all the artistic opportunities provided. She became involved in the underground art scenes and quickly discovered herself to be a great singer. This union of her talents and environments allowed her to create a few mixtapes, all while still driving a taxi. The story goes that as she would taxi people up and down Manhattan, she would play her tapes in the cab, most likely in the hopes of winning the passenger lottery and impressing someone important in her back seat. Her prayers were answered one night when she picked up a successful Hollywood director. He was so intrigued by the music coming from the stereo that he befriended her and helped her group record some material for a few movie soundtracks. You could call this her big break. Films such as Silence of the Lambs are the only reason anyone knows of her or her music. That famous scene of the serial killer dancing to the song I Now Dance To turned it into a huge hit. But the craziest part of her story is that once the song appeared on every radio station, Q Lazarus did the opposite. She ran away from yet another matrimony. Maybe she was afraid this one would be just as abusive as the last. Reddit, which may or may not be reliable, said she still hasn't claimed the royalty money that's owed to her, leading most to assume she's dead. My hope, however unrealistic it may be, is that she's waiting for her talents to be truly realized before she returns. Maybe choosing the name Lazarus was intentional. I mean, her band was even called Q Lazarus and the Resurrection. But I guess whether she's out there or not, the irony can never be unfastened from her story. She took the name of the biblical man who cheated death, yet her career died before it could even begin. I hope she knew that it wasn't her who was undeserving of fame. It was the public who was undeserving of her. She's too good for magazine covers and dubstep remixes of her voice, or at least too good to capitalize on it. If she is still out there, I can understand her reluctance to resurrect. Her song has become a gag. It has been parodied and overplayed to the point of irrelevance, leading people to treat it as a joke, rather than the profound piece of music it is. It's like everyone has forgotten how good it is. Hell, maybe they never knew to begin with. Maybe I'm the only one who realizes how fucking perfect it is. Like the entire album of Goat's Head Soup, or songs such as Maggie May, or Care of Cell 44, or Moonlight Mile, Goodbye Horses is a song I never tire of. I pull my phone from my pocket, restart the song, and smile. This song is a wondrous treasure, a masterpiece that strikes me with awe every time I listen. But all this praise isn't only due to the sounds it gifts me. It isn't only the catchiness of the melody or talent of the performers. The true power of this song is found within the wisdom of its words, the lyrics, the poetry. And yes, for as mythical as I find Q Lazarus to be, she can't be credited for this feat. She didn't write the lyrics to the legendary song, a member of her band did. Sadly, this man is dead. And even more tragic than this, he hasn't received the immortalizing acclaim that usually follows such a fate. Proof of this lies in the fact that I can't remember his name. And much like the talent of Q Lazarus, his gifts will never be recognized. It's not his fault. It's ours. How can his words be recognized when no one is willing to listen? To really listen. Not including me, of course. I've listened. I've listened close. And I've discovered the secret that no one else could. No one else sees the poetic meaning, the genius to this song like I do. Because yes, there is something utterly brilliant buried within this song, and I believe I have dug at least part of it up. And sure, I've considered the possibility that I'm just imagining a beauty that isn't there and that I'm being overly sentimental or enthusiastic about it, but for good reasons I doubt the fuck out of this. I'm a grouchy, stubborn, sour cynic who's harder to please than a bird is to fuck. I look for every excuse to refrain from praise, yet ship out scorn and hate by the cargo crate. Please tell me that rhyme wasn't on purpose. What rhyme? I'm only trying to say that I usually export enough ridicule to pack a mule, enough disdain to fill a train. Okay, so we're fucking with each other now, huh? Is that what we're doing here? Sorry, I'm done. Anyways, what I was saying is that I give out adoration in moderation. Hey, fuckface. I don't have to listen to your stupid-ass story about Q Lazarus, but I am. First off, you do have to listen to my story. Secondly, my story isn't about Q anymore. It's about her song and what it means, and most importantly, how much I fucking love it. What I was trying to stress before you rudely interrupted me is just how rare this is for me. If there's even a slight reason to dislike something, I will find it gleefully. My standards are high and my scalpel of criticism is sharp. But every time I slice into Goodbye Horses to dissect its contents, I find only clues to profundity. And these clues have led me to a theory of its meaning. Do you want to hear it? Honestly? No, I don't care at all. I was hoping to steal some food. Too bad. I'm going to talk about a bunch of stupid philosophical theories and how they apply to a song, and you're going to listen to all of it. Do I have to? Yes. It's either that or you stop reading the book. What exactly does this stop reading the book metaphor mean? How do I stop listening to the words inside my own head? I guess it would mean suicide. So what you're saying is that if I don't want to listen to your ridiculous theory on Goodbye Horses, I should kill myself? Yes. Now stop distracting me. This is important. See, because most people interpret Goodbye Horses as some sort of cheesy breakup song. Maybe the top layer is about something resembling a romantic relationship, but this isn't what defines the song. At its core, the song is about the comprehension of the true reality and the terror that comes with it. The lyrics tell a tale of a conversation between two individuals. The writer, or the narrator, singer of the song, and an unknown wise man. The wise man that the narrator speaks to is an intellectual type, or a mystic, or maybe even something more. What he is doesn't much matter. What's important is what he knows. What's important is that he's aware of the true nature of life. I've seen you rise, but it always fall. I see you come, I see you go, he tells the narrator. He knows the absurdity to life and the impossibility of human immortality. He recognizes how cruel our existence is. The singer desperately tries to plead with him, tries to argue with him, tries to insist that he's wrong, and that life is nothing short of wonderful. The man responds to her with lines like, "All things pass into the night," and "I've seen my hopes and dreams lying on the floor," and my favorite, "I've seen the sky just about to fall." All she, the narrator, can do is assert that he is wrong, that her witnessing of the world is the truth, not his. But the hesitation and worry in the singer's voice is telling of her insincerity, of her insecurity. She has been made aware of just how correct he is, yet is too shaken to admit it. To grasp this notion, one must see the wise man in the song as a representation of humanity's philosophical enlightenment, or at least its attempt at it. The comprehension of reality and the illusions that many of us fall prey to is prevalent in many different schools of philosophy. If anything, unshackling these illusions is the very point of philosophy. What the deepest thinkers across time have realized is that while the facts of nature are mesmerizing to reveal, they are even more agonizing to understand. This idea has surfaced across many eras and cultures. Every civilization's attempt at philosophy has led to similar conclusions. The Greeks, or more specifically Plato, perfectly illuminated this concept in the allegory of the shadows on the cave wall. This allegory tells of lifelong prisoners who have had their visions forcefully fixed on the wall of a cave, unable to turn their heads or divert their gaze. Behind them burns a fire, and for their entire lifetime all they can ever see are the flickering shadows on the cave wall before them. Therefore, they are completely convinced the shadows, and only the shadows, are real, for it is all they have ever seen. Imagine freeing one of these prisoners from the cave and letting them view the fire behind them, or an ocean, or a sunset, or each other. They would go mad. The story tells us that our senses are not always honest, and that reality is something far beyond our gaze. Philosophy shows us that there's terror in finding truth. Just think of humanity's bamboozlement when it discovered the world is round, or when it realized our round realm was one of trillions. Just think of humanity's current observations of irrational black holes and wells of dark matter that fill the seemingly infinite landscape of space surrounding us. Humanity will never definitively grasp what is real and what is true, but onward we trek through the uncharted trail, finding only an abundance of hazard and complexity the farther we explore. Every time we surpass our lying senses, using superhuman tools to comprehend nature, tackling the answers to the most important of questions, we pay the price of arising new ones, of summoning mysteries we never thought possible. Every time we answer the questions that previously seemed unanswerable, the results and their subsequent implications seem impossible to swallow. Sure, through microscopes and many other complex tools, we've expunged the belief of evil spells as the sources of diseases, but in doing so, we learned that sicknesses aren't magical constructs or cursed states of being. Instead, we learned that diseases are expanding, hostile hive minds of microorganisms that follow the same evolutionary rules as us. Diseases aren't magic, they're worse, they're alive. We found that we too are not magic, but merely a different method of disease, composed of trillions of little life forms. We learned that life itself is only a numbers game of growth and decay, a gigantic competition in an arbitrary arena, a glorified energy exchange between varying complexities of protein arrangements, and of course, along the way, we've found no evidence for the divine, for the afterlife, for angels, for the soul. We've found that it's not a soul that provides us with our identity. Instead, it seems that electricity, chemicals, and the brain they occupy are the sources of consciousness. We have grasped the science of sentience and found that self-awareness itself is an illusion that's forged in, and only in, the networks of neurotransmitters paved throughout the brain. Every day, we measure with increasing resolution that we are just a brain, a well-oiled biological machine. The horrifying discovery of this existential insight is much like learning everything you've ever seen and all you've ever known to be shadows on a wall. To see the maddening truth, we must doubt our own sight and learn to look past it. To charter ahead is to distrust the recording devices of our brain that evolution has provided. Mother Nature only wants us to abide by the rules of our five senses, to see and hear and fight an enemy, or to smell and taste our next chance at fuel for survival. To see beyond our biological programming, or at the very least understand its deceitfulness, is the key to transcending its parameters and learning something new. Again, though, the cost of such knowledge is a collision with oddity. So, maybe it's better to see shadows. To choose to see the shadows. I don't have the answer to that question. I doubt you actually think that. Are you saying that I do have the answer? No, I'm saying you think you do. Well, I don't. I don't. I don't know. I'm stoned. Just go back to listening to this stupid pop song, or better yet, steal some food. It's not a stupid pop song. It relates to all the stuff I was just talking about. Well, sort of. I guess Goodbye Horses takes a more Eastern approach. See, in a Hindu... Are you seriously still going on about this? Is there a way for me to stop listening to you? Is the suicide still an option? Please, please, please don't start babbling about some fucking bullshit Hindu story. In a Hindu story that I'm not lame enough to admit knowing the name of, Krishna, or whoever it is, rides on a chariot of 5 horses. It's an allegory. The horses are supposed to represent our senses. While we think we are piloting the chariot, our bodies, it's really being pulled and coerced by feelings and stimuli out of our control, riding a path that we can't possibly perceive. Sure, we can somewhat alter our chariot ride and tighten the reins with concentration or loosen them with meditation, but nevertheless the horses have the final say. If the horses want to go left when you want to go right, you're going left. In the case of the song, to fly over the horses is to abandon the rules of nature, to rebel against your programming. Even if not following the Eastern allegories and simply treating the horses as a common metaphor for nature, this meaning still stands. This could show that the narrator of the song has transcended to a point of reality-induced insanity. Or maybe flying over the horses means the truth was too ugly to bear and the teller of the tale has now killed themselves. Or maybe she's already dead, and now in the afterlife she's finally rewarded with the truth. It doesn't matter what causes the narrator to fly over the horses. The point is that the wisdom of the man has coerced the narrator into seeing the otherworldliness. She doesn't want the knowledge, though. She doesn't want to go mad. She seems hesitant of her discovery. She seems sad, even. I assume these negative ambiences are what convince listeners the song is about a breakup. In a sense, even at the deepest level, I guess it is about a breakup. It's about the separation from the self, or at least from the concept of what we see the self to be. The narrator tried to fight the thoughts, tried to fight the truth, but in the end, the result was the same. It shows that ignorance is bliss, and that discomfort is the accomplice of knowledge, of truth. And once you know this truth, you can never be rid of it. The Greek philosophy shows we can never perceive or control our actual reality, and the Eastern shows we can't even perceive or control our actual selves. Maybe I've done too much acid in my life, but from what I can gather, the more we ponder our own supposed existence, the more unlikely the existence of existence becomes. The pleas of my stomach come into focus. Okay, seriously, that's enough bullshit about Hindu horses. It's time to find some food. I switch to another song and push deeper into the stockroom, past the stacks of pretzels and chips and into the refrigerated room for produce and dairy. It's even darker than the stockroom, with stacks of fruit-filled boxes mazing throughout. I peer through the small spaces between the locks of cardboard ramparts and spot a glow of white light coming from the other side. It's the white light reflecting across the row of glass doors that form the separating wall between me and the dairy section of the Wonder Mart. In front of this wall of glass, jutting back towards me, sits lines of shelved milk cartons, patiently waiting for tomorrow morning to be rescued from the cold and placed into shopping carts. The ceiling and the other walls of the room are made of shiny, smooth metal, resembling some sort of dystopian prison cell. It's the perfect place to self-converse, to listen to music, and of course, to dance. Jesus, now that I think back, I've just spent the last 10 minutes dancing with myself in the stockroom. I hope no one saw me. Because, again, my coworkers are not aware that I'm listening to music. The speakers are hidden in my hat. This means if one of my fellow employees did stumble upon the sight of me dancing, they would assume it would be to no music. Dancing to music alone in a dark stockroom is weird enough. But dancing to no music at all is completely insane. How does the Nietzsche quote go again? And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. It seems fitting, except for the fact that I'm actually insane. But then again, so is Nietzsche. Either way, I shouldn't give these people any clues to uncovering my lack of mental health. The song Peace of Mind by Blue Cheer, not Boston, has now reached the dueling guitar solo section. I shift my head from side to side as I continue moving deeper into the cold room. I close my eyes to take in the sounds and nearly trip over something on the ground. I glance down to find an open crate of bananas. They are so yellow that even in the darkened light they look golden, like a pirate's treasure chest just waiting to be claimed. Next to the bananas sits a box of Asian pears. As far as I can tell, the only difference between an Asian pear and a non-Asian pear is their size. And maybe their color too, but it's hard to see in the dark. Also, Asian pears' stems are smaller. Was this another attempt at a joke? Very funny. Asian pears. Haha. Small stems, small dicks. You're just fucking hilarious. I know that wasn't funny. I style myself as a comedian, but in reality, I'm an asshole who's just crazy enough to convince myself I have wit. Speaking of Asians, though, I'm reminded of a joke I wrote for my stand-up set that I'll never actually do. I clear my throat in preparation of saying it aloud. Why are Asian prostitutes the best prostitutes? I snicker with laughter as I form the punchline in my head. Because their cunts are as tight as their eyelids. Wow. What? I'm sighing right now. So, is it funny? Dude, just eat a banana. We are hungry. Is the joke funny or not? There's no way for me to tell. I've received two very different responses to it in equal measure. One is laughter, and the other is pure disgust. And either one can easily be faked. But fake or not, there's no middle ground on this one. There's no fence of offense that people sit on. Either I'm hilarious for coming up with such a joke, or I'm an inconsiderate shitbag who deserves to be rutted and gutted for daring to think up something so vile and bigoted. The latter reaction, it pisses me off. Why's that? Because you're unable to import criticism, yet export it constantly? Because you're always searching for a way to lash out at people who aren't disgusting, crude, and incompatible with life, like you? Because you're jealous of their happiness, their value systems, their fulfillment? Nice try, but no. Their sensitivity just annoys me, and their outrage that usually follows infuriates me. So, your criticism is that people are too prone to outrage? Yes. And your response to this is to become outraged? Jesus, let me talk. What I'm attempting to say here is that people need to stop being so volatile over words. People need to stop being so sensitive. I mean, sure, A lot of people would call my Asian cunt joke racist, but they're wrong. It's not racist at all. I'm aware that the joke is curt and, yeah, probably even filthy and most likely not funny at all, but pointing out an obvious physical trait of a group of people doesn't make it racist, especially if it's a positive one. Tight cunts are, in fact, the best type. Asian women should be proud. I think one could argue that this description of Asian anatomy isn't accurate, so therefore that's what makes it racist. No way. I can argue that without a doubt, Asian women have the tightest vaginas. I mean, this trend obviously doesn't hold up every time. I'm only talking about averages here. I'm talking about statistics, and the numbers show that yes, with logic in mind, the Snuggest Snatch Award goes to the Asians. It's simple, and in no way racist to understand why. It's the same reason the males have smaller cocks. It's because they are smaller people. On average, their bodies are smaller, so therefore their ears, hands, feet, and yes, genitals will be sized accordingly. It's not racist to point this out. It's also not racist to point out that Africans have the largest cocks. They are the tallest and largest on average. So again, African legs, rib cages, and all other parts are larger on average, which explains why they're the most effective athletes and field workers. Okay, that was definitely racist. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have gone there, but who cares? It doesn't matter. I didn't say it out loud. I said it in my head. I didn't document it in any way. I didn't write it in a book or in an article. It's not at all text on a screen or page. This isn't writing. It's an internal voice, and this is a voice I can't control, let alone silence. These are uncontrolled thoughts uttered by the unknown, unpredictable author that inhabits my head. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think the joke was racist to begin with. 'Twas awful, sure, but not racist. The only thing my thought was guilty of is exploiting a terrible moment in history for shock humor. Sort of like how Holocaust jokes aren't necessarily racist towards Jews, they're just kind of mean. But something being mean doesn't mean it should automatically be censored. Sometimes a bit of callousness is essential. Sometimes the controversial topics and thinkers are what make real progress. And yeah, this may all just be a stale excuse to make a shitty joke, but the shitty joke isn't the point. The point is that we should kill the Jews. I'm kidding. Jews are the best comedians, and probably the best at everything else too. We should totally not kill the Jews. Instead, we should shift our genocidal gaze to the states of Georgia and Alabama. I'm kidding again. The entirety of the American South is a much better target. The point I'm trying to make is that this PC trend is as annoying as it is unhelpful. Political correctness is not the savior that everyone thinks it is. Instead, it's destroying the work ethic, fulfillment, and individualism of everyone it infects. Oh, right, because you, the politically incorrect renegade, are just so fulfilled. You have such a strong work ethic, such a powerful sense of who you are as an individual. I'm not a good example. Of what? What are you even talking about? What do you even mean by the PC trend? The words have lost all meaning. I'm talking about this whiny, fucking faux happy, feel good, no bullying, everyone's perfect, let's compete for victim points, cross out anything that's mean with red ink, trendy dog shit, bullshit, chicken shit, social movement is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I see. So you know what's best for society. You, the guy who can't even pay his bills or hold down a job or have a simple fucking conversation with anyone other than himself, knows how civilization ought to be. You are the guy with all the answers, huh? No, I don't know all the right answers. I'm just asking the right questions. Or I guess what I'm really trying to say is that the questions still exist, that some of our answers are wrong, that the problem isn't quite solved yet, and that anyone or anything who claims to have solved it is either stupid or lying. And you know, I know enough, okay? I know a cleansed society that longs to be heaven is destined to become hell. I know that political correctness isn't a redeemer, it's a language torturer, a free speech stifler. It's fascism masquerading as virtue. Its ideology contains no truth, no wisdom, no consistency. This is because it isn't an ideology. It's a fashionable cheat code for the shepherds of populism. It's an opportune bodyguard for Democrats and billboard for businesses. We need to all take a step back to reality. We need to stop worrying about how things feel and focus on how things are. We need to be free to say what we want, to question what we want. I'm not saying for people to be harsh for no reason. I'm only saying that people shouldn't be so quick to censor those who are. But what I'm saying most is that we should put sterilizing agents in Florida's drinking water. I see. Comedy should have no limits. It must remain untouched, immune to censorship. We can't place boundaries. We can't let phony feelings and political opportunists dictate our jokes, right? We can't let the puniest sensibilities speak for us all. Jokes are just words, and words are just words. They're harmless, right? Exactly. Jokes are just jokes. So, you like jokes then? Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. I love them. You want to hear a joke? Of course. You. Good one. And see, that's fine. I can take it. I can take a joke. I'm fine. It's okay. Jokes are just jokes. Oh, I wasn't joking. You're a lonely, disgusting, pathetic joke. Cool. Roast me all you want. You should roast yourself. I already am. No, I mean like you should physically put your head into a roasting hot oven and kill yourself because you're a fucking joke that's doing nothing and going nowhere. You're an insignificant piece of pretentious trash. It's gross. You're gross. Your sight and smell are gross. Your struggle through life in general is gross. Sincerely, your existence is painful to witness. Yeah, I get it. My struggle can be tough to watch. I'm fat and ugly too, which certainly doesn't help. Racially motivated genocides are easier to watch. I beg you to take this seriously. God damn, man. You're killing me, but it's cool. This is my point. I can laugh it off. It's funny. Really, it is. It's not funny. You're a disease to yourself, to the world. You are the personification of a prolapsed rectum. Your personality is Alzheimer's and your social skills are child murder. Kill yourself. You're a joke, but not the funny kind. I'm being serious. This isn't a joke. Do not misinterpret me calling you a joke as a joke. I'm not calling you a joke jokingly. Kill yourself. See? Dude, that is funny shit. And guess what? It doesn't offend me. I can laugh it off. Well, you're wrong. You should be offended. You shouldn't laugh it off. Your treatment of every tragedy as a joke has turned you into just that. A joke. A tragic fucking joke. And the darker the joke, the funnier it is. Whatever you say to me, I can take. Okay. I don't know how I can make this any clearer. Kill yourself. I'm not kidding. Just die. Fucking die by your own hand in misery. Yeah, that's good. It needs to be sad and slow. I want your life of disappointment and your final years of pain and your final weeks of sadness and your final moments of crying to finally inspire you to fill your mouth with those tempting pills in the cabinet. I want you to choke down that final handful of submission with your tears. I want you to sob the whole time. But then, once the pills start melting in your stomach and you feel that first cold gust of what's to come, I want you to get second thoughts. I want you to regret it. I want you to want the pills out of you. I want you to try and throw them up, but fail. I want you to desperately stick your fingers into your tear-drenched mouth to force vomit, but I don't want it to work. I want you to make attempt after attempt to gag yourself. I want you to resort to shoving larger and larger objects down your throat like a sex slave practicing for his well-endowed master. But no matter how deep and rough you dig into your gullet, you just can't gag. The pills remain in your stomach, drowning and dispersing in its acid. You realize now, in the final moments of your life, that you have no gag reflexes. You realize that there was something you could have been good at in life. You realize your purpose, your destiny was to suck cock. You realize as you die alone and scared on the floor of your bathroom, you probably could have given a hell of a blowjob. You realize your fate was to fellate. At this point, you almost long for a chance to suck a cock. You would blow 10 dudes right now if it even meant 5 more minutes of life. But the pills are dissolving along with your vision. You're dying, and all your terrified mind can conjure are scenes of the fantastic fellatio you could provide the world if only you were given the chance. But you don't have a chance. You're dying. But nevertheless, you keep trying to gag. You shove the toothbrush, the plunger handle, the paperweight down your slutty and unutilized throat, desperately hoping for a burp. But it's too late. You die, alone, ashamed, and scared, regretting the fact that you weren't born a faggot. Okay. Well, that was just, wow. That's some dark shit. I can't believe I'm the one that forged that, but still, I guess it was funny. No, it was. It totally was funny. It was just a joke, merely words. You want to know some other words? Rent, bills, work, responsibility, Just words, simple little words, but with real meaning. Do you understand the concept of debt, or are you one of those money is just paper kind of people? Okay, now you're crossing a line, okay? You know I'm not an idiot. Yeah, you're a joke. Okay, seriously, can you shut up now? You're a fucking joke, dude. Shut up! Joke. Holy shit, stop. Just stop. Joke. Shut the fuck up! Joke. I fucking had enough,
Joke.
Shut
You're a
up.
joke. You're a jokey
Stop.
joke.
Stop! Okay, sorry, just calm down, alright? I'm sorry. You're a joke.
Fuck you.
Joke.
No.
Joke.
Fuck
Joke.
you.
Joke.
Shut the fuck up.
Joke.
Shut the fuck up. Fuck you.
Joke.
Fuck you.
Joke.
Fuck
Joke.
Fuck you.
Whoa. Hey. Chill out, man. It's just a joke. I'm joking. Why the aggression? Why the outrage? Hey, you know what? I think I see your point now. People are too sensitive about jokes. They're just words, right? The only thing that matters is if they're funny. Hey, are you there? Wasn't that exchange funny? It was funny, right? Did you get it? Did you get the joke? Did you get what I was trying to say? I'm ignoring you. You can't ignore me. This just happened, and it's written in ink. Permanent ink. You'll never be able to forget it. I've already forgotten it. I'm moving on to better things. On to what? I'm going to eat this banana now, if that's all right with you. Yeah, eat that banana. Shove it deep down your throat. In fact, try to swallow it whole. We both know you won't gag it back up. It'll glide right down without resistance. With any luck, you'll choke and die. Imagine them finding your body hours later, perfectly preserved in this cooler. The coroners would be pleased, but I bet the mortician would be puzzled. Can you imagine what he would say when he figured out the cause of your death? Did this poor man really try to eat a banana in one bite? Or was this a sex thing? It would be an honest question. Now that would be funny, right? Would that be funny? Hey, is this funny or not? Did this joke go too far, or are there no boundaries in comedy? Is this funny? Tell me. I want to know. Is this funny? We are done discussing this. Is it funny or not? I don't care. We're moving past this. We're done talking about it. I'm done with this. It's done. I'm turning a new leaf. I'm moving ahead. I'm starting a new chapter.